Afrika Selatan tuduh dunia gagal lindungi anak-anak Palestina usai laporan PBB. Afrika Selatan menuduh komunitas internasional gagal melindungi anak-anak Palestina setelah penyelidikan Perserikatan Bangsa-Bangsa (PBB) menyebut pasukan Israel diduga secara sengaja menargetkan anak-anak Palestina, menyebabkan dampak yang dapat berlangsung selama beberapa generasi.
I'd like to just touch on now on the United Nations Independent International Commission of Inquiry on the occupied Palestinian territory, including East Jerusalem and Israel. South Africa has taken note of the latest reports on Israel's violations and crimes against and affected Palestinian children. The report was published on the 23rd of June this year by the United Nations Independent International Commission of Inquiry on the occupied Palestinian territory, including East Jerusalem and Israel. The Commission reaffirmed its previous finding that Israel is committing a genocide in Gaza. The Commission also found that a clear, and I quote, inflicting severe, irreversible bodily harm on Palestinian children, including causing severe physical and psychological injury, whether through bombings, intentional shooting, collapsing of buildings, lack of medical care, denial of access to adequate nutritious food and safe water, unquote. The Commission of Inquiry also included or further concluded that Israel created, quote, living conditions that are fundamentally incompatible with the physical growth and intellectual development of children and the holistic environment necessary for children's well-being, systematically restricted and diminished the survival capabilities and health of Palestinian newborns, and systematically attacked Palestinian education. The harm and trauma will affect Palestinians for generations. These findings, unfortunately, confirm that the risks South Africa warned about in its application to the International Court of Justice in December of 2023, and those risks have now materialized, and children are bearing the cost of the international community's inaction. 3 provisional orders from the International Court of Justice and 2 advisory opinions later, little has improved. A so-called ceasefire is in place, but as emphasized by the Commission of Inquiry at its press conference during the release of this report I've cited, Palestinian children in Gaza continue to be killed, seriously injured, with continued disregard by Israel to the ceasefire and for the protection owed to the Palestinian children under international law. Rather than allowing aid in at scale, Israel has forced humanitarian organizations and human rights defenders to halt or scale back their work in the occupied Palestinian territory through, I quote, sustained harassment, threats, bans, sanctions, attacks on their reputations, leaving Palestinian children even less protected and risking the continuation of violations to their rights with impunity. South Africa will continue to follow the example of the children of Soweto in 1976, which was Youth Month that we marked just last month, to confront injustice with bravery. South Africa is using legal and political avenues available to fight for Palestinian existence, struggle for Palestinian self-determination, and a future for Palestinian children free from domination, subjugation, and oppression of discrimination, segregation, and apartheid. We are not doing so blind of the difficulties inherent in healing from illegal settler or colonial occupation, but we also know that healing is possible. Healing can, however, not take place in a context of the continued denial of self-determination and the maintenance of apartheid. Most importantly, healing cannot take place during an ongoing genocide, as it requires the continued existence of a group of people. Children are the core and the future of a people, and as one of the eminent judges of the International Court of Justice reminded us recently, a people is the core of the right to self-determination. Without the existence of a people, there is no basis to exercise the right to self-determination. As the news of the massacre in Soweto in 1976 catalyzed a movement of broad international solidarity, perhaps the horrific practices that have now been outlined in the Commission of Inquiry's report will encourage a broader movement of solidarity and further encourage more and more states to join South Africa and act and do so with urgency.
Jelajahi cara baru mendapatkan informasi. Download MetroTV Extend sekarang.